Hey Life Groups, it's me here back with some more content for you guys. We're recapping this last weekend's message, but adding on a little bit to what I think we can begin to think about and apply to our own lives. But before we actually do that, what I'd like for us to do is, because we're on this Philippians devotionals, I'd love for you guys to take a break as a life group at this moment. Just pause and chat about what's been amazing for you over the Philippians devotional so far, what you've heard God whisper to you, what you're trusting Him for, what you've enjoyed. But just have a moment now to reflect on the Philippians devotionals and how they're impacting your life as a life group together. Amazing. I hope that those conversations were incredible. We're not going to jump into content for today around confidence in God. So if you weren't able to pop into the building or even online to watch our Shane's message on confidence, I'd encourage you to do so. But I wanted to take it a little bit further than what he spoke on this past Sunday. So essentially what he spoke about is not having confidence in your own righteousness or your own actions, or relying on your own performance to qualify you to have a confidence in God, but really looking at Christ's performance and letting that be the lens that you apply to your confidence in Him. Jeremiah 17 verse 7 tells us that blessed are those who trust in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. So we're going to speak about how we go about getting that confidence. And for me, it kind of looks like when you're confident in something, you know that that thing is absolutely true. So therefore you can begin to then act from that point on. So if I know that when I prep my message well, I can preach the best of my ability, I'm far more confident than when I don't know my content well. I haven't done the work to prepare the message. Or take it another step further, if I haven't prepared for a meeting that I'm going to have at work, I'm feeling less confident because I don't know my stuff. I don't know what I'm going to come in there and say. So when we really, really know something, it gives us a confidence to approach a circumstance with far more confidence and faith, actually. So when the circumstances of life come our way, when we are facing whatever we're facing, when we're looking at what lies ahead for each and every single one of us, we're constantly looking at what do we know about ourselves? What do you know about God enough to have confidence to approach the situation well? So this past week I've been on leave, and I go for walks in the morning, at obscene hours in the morning, like 5 in the morning. I go for like a ridiculous 6K walk. So now at some point in this walk, this has never happened before, I was walking down one of the streets and the owners, I would imagine, closed the gate before the dogs could actually get back in. So the Alsatian just started walking across the street, which is like a police dog. Now, in my mind, I was thinking, oh my gosh, Sarafina. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So the ears perked up. So now I'm like, is this a moment? Like, the headline's gonna read, young dog mauls thief in the streets. I'm just kidding. But I was looking at this dog and I wasn't at all afraid. I was like, cool, I need to approach the situation with a level of confidence. If I begin to respond in fear, this could go sideways. So I kept my line of direction, whatever, and the dog came right in front of me. It stopped. Now we both looking at each other as a stalemate. So I'm like, okay, cool, what's supposed to happen now? So I'm like, hey! But essentially that situation ended well. I ended up patting the dog and another one came and it was a fun time. But I was far more confident because I knew generally how dogs behave in those moments enough to know how I should respond to the moment. So now, in looking at our own lives, when we really, really know who God is, when we really have a faith in His character, then we can respond to the circumstances that come our way with far more confidence because of who He is. So the second question that I have for us today is, what's the one thing, the one step that you can begin to take to know who God is? If you don't know who He is, if maybe you're questioning this part of His character or who He is, what's the one thing that you can do this week to begin to unravel that and know that God's character can absolutely be trusted? What's the one thing that you can do to get to know God a little bit better so you can have a greater confidence in who He is? Fantastic. I hope that those conversations were thought-provoking and each one could learn from the other in what they believe about who God is, enough to begin to apply that to their to their own lives. I'm going to bring this to like a bit of a soft close because I want this to be a conversation really of us gaining confidence in the character of God and really the character of Jesus. So now when you look at your own life, what have been the things that have stood in your way to begin to gain a confidence in God? So Shane highlighted two aspects where we feel like we're messing up all the time and we disqualify ourselves because we feel like we're unworthy, or we think that we do all the right things, or there's a messy in between that exists. But what thing within you has gotten in your way of gaining a confidence in who God is, and how can you begin to do the work to remove that so that you can do the work to gain a confidence in who He is? So what's the one thing in your own life that has stood in your way to gain confidence in Him? And what can you begin to do to remove that out of the way? Obviously, all of this stuff is in partnership with God, in partnership with the Holy Spirit. And watch as you and I begin to gain a confidence in who He is as we walk this journey with Him. Friends, it's been fantastic being with you. I hope that you guys are encouraged and gain an unreasonable amount of confidence in God after these conversations. And I'll see you guys in the next video.